It's midday right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to the program. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. It's where we bring you up to speed with the big happenings in politics and in the polity. Let's begin with the headlines. The Independent National Electoral Commission says it is yet to take final decision over the Supreme Court order delineation of Warri federal constituency, once against activities threatening area's peace. Multiple factions of the Labour Party lay claim to the authentic national chairman of the party after Supreme Court judgment insists the party's internal affairs are not justiciable. Welcome again to the program. The big conversation today has to do with what's playing out in the Labour Party. But before we get to all of that, let's tell you what INEC is saying concerning the Warri federal constituency. It says it has not taken a final decision on the delineation of the wards in Warri federal constituency. This comes after a protest at the headquarters of INEC in Abuja on Wednesday, with some members of the wards rejecting the proposed demarcation in the wards in the constituency. In a statement signed by the INEC National Commissioner in charge, Sam Olumekun, it debunked narratives about the proposed delineation of wards in Warri North, Warri South, and Warri Southwest federal constituency, as ordered by the Supreme Court in its judgment delivered on December the 2nd, 2022. Mr. Olumekun notes that the Commission embarked on extensive consultations from February 2023 to July 2024, involving all critical stakeholders, followed by field work in all the communities in the 3 local government areas, culminating in the production of a draft report. He urged representatives of the various stakeholders to submit their observation of the draft or on the draft report, which would serve as a basis for further engagement on this particular matter. You're seeing members of the Trade Union Congress and the Nigerian Labour Congress this morning picketing the Ministry of Steel Development at Wuse in Abuja, the nation's capital, to demand for better welfare of workers, what they consider unjust sack of workers, and stopping workers' rights to practice unionism. The labor unions, led by the head organizer, Comrade Eche Asuzo, barricaded the main gate of the ministry's headquarters and prevented staff of the company from gaining access into their offices, carrying placards with different inscriptions and signs singing solidarity songs. The organized labor kicked against the federal government maltreatment of the staff, calling for a better welfare. All right, so a few days now, it's been a controversial issue. The issue around the leadership of the Labour Party made its way all the way to the Supreme Court. Now, when you get to the Supreme Court, it's a final court in the land. It's a court of public policy in that sense. Whatever is pronounced there is final. Whether it's right or wrong, it is final. So it gives that level of finality. But with the case of Labour Party, rather than bring closure, it is bringing more confusion, because the court simply said, whatever has to do with your leadership, count us out. It is not justiciable. And those were the pronouncement. It's a judgment, 40-something pages. I read through a couple of all of them. I read through the judgment, and they dismissed, striking out some of the decision, striking out the decision of the lower courts. I mean the trial court and the Court of Appeal. Because this issue around leadership and membership is totally not justiciable, and the Supreme Court has stayed on that for a long time. So the funny part is now, who is the authentic leader or national chairman of the party? There is a Nande Usman Caretaker Committee, which has literally all the elected officials, senators, Peter Obi, the presidential candidate, Alex Otu, the governor of Abia State, which is the only Labour Party state, backing her. And then there's the Abure faction, who is still insisting that the Newi Congress they did is valid, and they are still in charge of the leadership of the party. And I hear another sprung up again. So it's literally a conundrum. But let's take you to what played out at the stakeholders meeting So there were two, Abure-led NEC, and then there is this caretaker committee-led NEC and stakeholders forum where party leaders spoke. But let's take a listen to Nenadu Usman as well as Mr. Alex Oti on what they said at that meeting.
Therefore, call on all party members, whether aggrieved by the decision of the Supreme Court or not, to set aside their grievances and ambitions and come join us to build a party that will stand with the ordinary Nigerian and a party that would ensure that the gains of democracy are available to every Nigerian.
I had sat with Mr. Abure last year, and I asked him, I said, what do you really want? And he said he didn't want anything. I said, okay, I can speak to my leaders, and you can become a BOT chairman. I offered that with their approval. But I also gave him some pieces of advice. I said, if I were you, I wouldn't want to lead people who wouldn't want me to lead them.
That's what played out at that particular NEC meeting by the stakeholders who have that caretaker committee. But they moved from there to INEC office. And take a listen to what the demands were, led by Governor Alex Oti.
It's instructive to know that in your website, you have Mr. Julius Abure as the chairman of the party, but you do have a clause there that says, by court order. Since there is another court order, we call on you to remove his name and replace with distinguished Senator Esther Menadi Osman.
The chairman of the commission is on here. He's away on official duty. And as soon as we leave here, we will communicate with him. We will meet and take decisions on this matter.
Okay, so as we speak now, if you go to INEC portal, the name there is still Julius Abure as the national chairman of the party, which is what Mr. Governor Alex Oti was speaking against. My producer will put it up. So there you have it. I wish it can be clearer. But I want you to note what is there by court order. We also have national secretary by court order and all of that. But let's tell you what the reaction of the Abure group is. They are insisting that the judgment of the Supreme Court vindicated Mr. Abure as the chairman of the party. In a statement by his National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, they claim the committee led by Senator Nenadi Usman is misinforming Nigerians about the import of the judgment. Consequently, any NEC meeting convened by them is null and void. The party leadership says it will no longer take kindly anti-party activities from any member, no matter how highly placed. So this is where we are. So I want to talk to the young persons in the party. Joining me on the program is the Labour Party youth leader, national youth leader, Kennedy Ahanotu. He joins us from our Abuja studios, as well as Mr. Idris Zekeri, is a former head of media, or chairman of media during the governorship election in Edo State. Idris and Mr. Ahanotu, thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. So let's break this down. My assumption is that you've seen the CTC, just like I have seen. So let me start with you, Mr. Ahanotu, on this particular one. One of the things that Mr. Governor Alex Oti said, I would like your input on what you understand the judgment of the Supreme Court to be. That's on one hand. The other hand, Dr. Alex Oti also said he told Mr. Julius Abure that if it was him, he would not want to lead the people that don't want to be led by him. What's your take? Mr. Hanna, to that question.
Thank you so much. I listened to His Excellency Dr. Alex Oti very well. And that his statement has further shown that we are still battling with our politicians. Because whenever you elect a governor or a president, he feels that he is now the god to be worshipped. Where on earth do you have a governor being the one to offer positions, political party leadership position to members of the party? Where on earth have the governor taken time to read the Labour Party constitution to know that he does not have the authority to decide who is the national chairman, who is the national secretary, and who the leaders of the party are? So the statement yesterday is as simple as what we've been saying, that these guys were elected and they felt that it's now time for them to hijack the party. Of course, the anger against Barrister Julius Abure started Immediately, most of them were inaugurated. They came and they were demanding that there should be change of their local government chairman, their state chairman, including Alex Oti. The state chairman who elected him as a governor, the first request made to the party by Alex Oti was that man to be changed. Barrister Abure accepted that, and that man was changed. And Abure told him that that man will be brought to the national. Governor Alex Oti said no, he doesn't want to see the man in the party again. This is the kind of leaders we elect in Nigeria. It's simply mischievousness for Dr. Alex Oti, who was the chairman of the Nnewi Convention, to, along the line, turn around. Is it that his legal advisors and his political advisors did not advise him well about party supremacy, about the authenticity of that convention before he accepted to be the chairman? In fact, his deputy governor was the one that declared winners in that very convention. And if you can remember, the speaker and all the state assembly members, the National Assembly members, the commissioners from other states were all in that convention. At what point did Mr. Alex Oti turn around to now feel that that decision of the party, when the Supreme Court said party supremacy should be binding, they simply mean that the decision of INEC should be upheld, and that is where we stand.
So we're going to come to a few things, because I think I understand where the contention is. And we're going to speak to that Nnewi Convention itself, which was quite controversial in itself because of structural issues that emanated. And then we have all this conundrum coming out of it eventually. But let me go to Mr. Idris Zachary. Mr. Idris, I know you have heard Mr. Hannatu, perhaps your quick response to him, and also to speak on what the outcome of the decision of the Supreme Court is, and why do we still have this confusion?
Thank you very much, Geoffrey. You know, you can wake a man who is sleeping, but you cannot wake a man who is pretending to sleep. Julius Abure and his friends are pretending to sleep, and it's disturbing that people will come on national TV to argue decisions that have been made by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the final court in the land. Once the Supreme Court has decided on a matter, the only other place you can litigate it is to take it to God. It is over. It is over, and it is crystal clear. I don't know why the gentleman in the studio is pretending not to understand the import of the Supreme Court judgment. Page 47 of the certified true copy of that judgment stated clearly that the 3 appeals that were brought by Nenadi Usman are resolved in favor of Nenadi Usman and her CTC. It went further to say that the trial court and the appeal court had no jurisdiction to entertain the suit that retained Julius Abure in office as national chairman. And it concluded by advising, it particularly used the word admonishing Julius Abure and his friends, which includes the gentleman in the studio, that they should learn to obey party constitution that prescribes tenure of office for elected party officials. Where is the argument coming from? So I will encourage my dear brother in the studio and his friends, of course, Julius Abure is part of them, to first of all, they need to first of all purge themselves of this urge to continue to deny Nigerians a viable alternative to the 2 political behemoths, PDP and APC. The more they do this, the more they begin to look like an arm of the APC. There is still room for reconciliation, as properly stated by the distinguished Senator Nenadi Usman yesterday. And that is that they return back to the fold. If they want to retain their offices, let them contest in a generally accepted Congress. He can contest for national youth leader.
So Mr. Idris, just hold on, just a moment.
The doors are open. Coming here to argue with respected justices of the Supreme Court is something that beats me hollow. So that's my position on the matter. There's no discussion on this as far as it's concerned. It's a settled matter. And all right,
Mr. Idris.
I think the media also needs to take precaution here. There is no faction in Labour Party. Saying there is faction in Labour Party is contempt of the Supreme Court.
All right, Mr. Idris. So I'm going to stay with you for a moment before I go to Mr. Hannatu. The Supreme Court decision is to the effect that the party is supreme in their decision. Parties go and resolve your issues. So now what is the issue of the party? That is the bone of contention now, which is why everybody is laying claim. Nana Usman had approached the court and said the party that pronounced, the court that pronounced Julius Abure as national chairman is wrong. And the Supreme Court agreed that no court can do that. In fact, it's not justiciable. The words of the Lord Justice said, in fact, that the courts, the lower court had actually walked where angels fear to tread, just to give, you know, strength to the effect that we don't want to be involved in your internal issue. The only window we have to come into any political party, section 8414 of the Electoral Act, which has to do with nomination and selection of candidate. Outside that, we don't have any business with your business. Go sort yourself out. So now the question is, I listened to the legal advisor of Labour Party yesterday, and he was saying that the congresses that bring in officials at the national level is once every 4 years, but the other ones that bring in at the lower level is once every 3 years. Because the question that was asked was to the effect that, how come you organize a congress or a convention in that sense without following through all the structures of ward, local government and state, which I would like you to speak to, Mr. Idris.
In your program, I had spoken previously on this matter some time ago. What the Abure and his friends led, now I don't want to call them led national leadership of the Labour Party. What Abure and his friends did prior was to stand logic on his head. The constitution that the gentleman in the studio is holding, not so gentleman in the studio is holding, it states clearly that
no, he's a gentleman. So
is bottom up.
Idris, just a moment.
You start from the word.
Idris, just a moment.
Pardon?
Yes, please. He's a gentleman. We're not fighting. We're just trying to understand ourselves, okay? So let's be civil.
I am not a gentleman. I'm an African man. So him not being a gentleman is not an insult. He's not so gentle. He knows it. Now, leadership of the party is bottom up. You start from the ward. You go to the local government, senatorial district, zones, states, before you come to national. How come Abure and his dear friends went to Anambra, like he claimed? He even said that some persons who are now in the Nenadi, who are now with the CTC Nenadi Usman, participated in the Congress. That does not invalidate the fact that it was a breach of the Constitution.
Okay, Idris, Mr. Idris, let me take it back to Mr. Hanatu because of time. My apologies, I beg you. My apologies. Let me take it to Mr. Hanatu. Mr. Hanatu, I'd like you to come in here and respond to that particular Congress. Why did Abure, because if we go back, because there are two issues here. The argument about the Congress, and then I'm going to show both of you what is written in your own law, and I'm wondering how that law was endorsed in the first place. But speak to that Congress itself. The argument over why the Congress was organized without going through the fundamental basic structure all the way up. Mr. Hanna, do you have a response?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to thank the young man from Benin for all his manipulation of words and his erudition. And this is what I've been saying, that 2023 have brought a lot of neophytes into politics. They didn't take time to study the terrain. They didn't take time to know what is political party administration and leadership. But because of the long denial of good governance in Nigeria and the surge to participate in selecting a new leader in 2020, of course, the Labour Party made available the best presidential candidate in 2023. And a lot of people fell behind him. And after that election, all of them have become politicians, and they don't know what politics is all about. But that, nevertheless, the Labour Party has been existing, and the constitution of the party has been existing before 2023. And the Labour Party tenure after 2019 convention, we are supposed to expire in 2023. After the general election, with the litigations and everything that was going on as at that moment, the party NEC invited INEC and decided that the tenure, because anytime you want to do anything that does with leadership of a party, you must notify INEC, and INEC must be present in terms of election. If not a must that they will be there anyway, but you must have to notify INEC. The notification is what is important. But in that Asaba NEC, where the tenure was extended for 1 year, INEC were there. And the tenure of Barrister Julius Abure was extended for 1 year. Under that 1 year extension, the party NEC met again and decided to notify INEC for the National Convention of the party, which was done on 3rd December 2023. That convention was scheduled initially to hold in Benin. Eventually, finally held in Edo, in Anambra State, Nnewi. Till this moment, nobody have been able to invalidate the genuinity of that convention. INEC cannot select leaders for political parties. INEC will wash their hands off, just like the Supreme Court have done. INEC is a regulatory body that supervises, advises, corrects, guides.
Mr. Hannatu, just a moment. Can you hear me, Mr. Hannatu? Just a moment. My question is, and if you can answer me in 30 seconds so we can make progress, why did the party not follow what other parties in terms of structure, from ward to local government to states, before we do the national convention? That's my question.
You say why did the party not follow what other parties? You see the problem here. The problem is that a lot of people that join the party from APC and PDP thinks that the constitution of APC and the constitution of PDP is the same with that of Labour Party. The congresses of the party, there is nowhere in this constitution where it was specified that it must start from ward and end in the national. And just like you acknowledge that the national legal advisor told you yesterday, that the party leadership at the national is 4 years tenure, and that of the states are 3 years tenure. So where on earth will you import that it must start from the ward? Where?
Okay, so let me go to Mr. Idris. Let me take it now to Idris. Idris, so I would like your response to that. So this is the argument of the Abure group, that the reason why because it's going to fall back to this point, because the next point, if my producer can put up, I'm trying to get to that, just a moment. I'm trying to get to it. Okay, I think I'm there right now. Because there are two parts to take out Mr. Abure for the people who want to take him out, is to speak to the issue of that Nnewi Congress, whether he followed the party structure. So you will respond to him. The other part is, according to, except I have the wrong one, Article 18 of your party, the Labour Party, the words are, the national chairman of the party may be suspended or removed from office on a vote of no confidence passed by at least 2/3 majority at a national convention. This is the critical part, and the fact that I'm using to me is convened solely by him for such purpose. So I'm asking myself, if I'm a national chairman of a party, will I convene a convention that will remove me in office? So this is the critical part. So I want you to answer to that legislation, if it's still valid, as well as the convention in Nnewi, as to why the party didn't follow what we're used to.
Okay, so very quickly, my dear brother said the new party in politics came in 2023. Some of us have been in partisan politics for at least 15 years. Way back, Save Nigeria Group, you can find out. But let's leave that. That's not important. As opposed to the civic education is giving us, let's speak to the facts. Now, no matter what the constitution of a party says, or regardless of the import of that constitution, once the tenure of office of an elected public official expires, that public official ceases to exist in that capacity. For example, I was chairman media team of the Labour Party in the last election. Elections are done. What, you are putting former chairman in my name now? I am no longer chairman. It's the same thing. Julius Abure, by expiration of his tenure in office, ceases to be national chairman. It's a simple matter. There is no debate about it. Now, you also asked me about the Nnewi Convention. You know, like I told you earlier, you can wake a man up who is sleeping. But the man who is pretending to sleep, it is practically impossible to wake such a person up. And that's what they did. They knew that they did not have the legal standing to remain in office. They organized what I can call here a crocodile convention to perpetuate themselves in office. And when they went to court, they didn't go to argue their crocodile convention. They were arguing other things that should allow them remain in office. The Supreme Court has clearly stated that the 3 issues that were brought before it are resolved in favor of the CTC. So no matter what anybody is quoting here, party constitution, whatever constitution, Supreme Court is the final arbiter, and it has spoken on the matter. So That I think speaks to all the questions you have asked me. But they should make no mistake about it. Some of us have been in partisan politics even since our university days. I am not sure, apart from the national chairman he has contested, I don't know what position he has held in the past.
All right, so let's begin to bring some closure. We have 1 minute each, gentlemen. So where do we go from here? Everybody's literally grandstanding. Some reason I've not heard from Lamidi Apapa for a while, but I think I'm seeing some things flying up. I have also interviewed a gentleman who even went as far back as 2019, saying that even Julius Abure's first term is in contention because the national secretary, he was supposed to take over when the former chairman died. So, but let's not go there. Let's stay with the Supreme Court judgment. Anna, you have 30 seconds. Where do we go from here? Because you're grandstanding. These other groups are grandstanding, and we're losing the luxury of a viable opposition.
Thank you so much. I'm not grandstanding. Where we need to go from here is for the former this and former that, big this and big man, to be humble enough to submit themselves to party supremacy, which the Supreme Court have asked them to do. It does not matter who you are. Constitution of the party must be followed. There is no way in this constitution that empowers a governor. Okay, look at yesterday, including Kenneth Okonkwo, who has resigned from the party, attended INEC meeting. Which political party does that? So way forward is for them to be humble enough to submit themselves to the party. Anything less than that, they are still playing. National Transition Committee of NLC went to INEC just like Alex Oti went yesterday. It didn't change anything. So anybody can visit INEC headquarters. All right, but that doesn't matter.
Let's take it back to Ms. Idris.
INEC is an establishment of law, and they will obey the law at every point in time.
All right, Ms. Idris, your final thoughts, please.
The Julius Abure and his friends at Labour Party headquarters have a unique opportunity in history to stop denying Nigerians a unique opportunity to have a political party that can present itself as an alternative to the behemoth PDP and APC. The more they continue to behave in this manner, the more they confirm to Nigerians that they are an extension of the ruling party and they are part and parcel of what Nigerians under the obedient movement and now the Labour Party are continuing to have stood against and are continuing to stand against. It's time for them to repent. Abure should come home and do a proper repentance here in Benin City. We are waiting for him. We may even organize a reception for him when he's coming back. But if he continues to behave like this, he may not, I reserve my comment. We are national TV.
Okay. Gentlemen, I must thank you both for coming on the program. That means this issue is far from over, even for successor generation of the party. But I must thank you, Idris Zekari, a leader of the Labour Party in Edo State, former chairman of the media team of the Edo State governorship election. Hannah too, Kennedy is the Labour Party national youth leader. Thank you both. Right now, because of you politicians, sometimes we don't know how to address you anymore. Because some will say we are former, you're this, you're not that. Thomas, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, just before we go, let's tell you that the former governor of Rivers State and chairman of the Rivers Elders and Leaders Forum, Rufus Adda George Chief, is directly accusing the FCT minister of masterminding the political tension in Rivers State, including the alleged plan to impose state of emergency and the recent appointment of the sole administrators across the 23 local government areas. He stated this while briefing journalists today in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, following the development announced by the sole administrator. Well, that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. Remember, right here at midday, we'll give you all access pass to the big stories in politics and in the polity. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. You've been served. Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.